Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's Mr. Brockman from Home Office E112. One of the roles I play here at the high school is the coordinator of our Safe and Drug-Free Committee. And we're excited to present to you today a follow-up video to yesterday's DUI and reenactment. Please understand that the events in this video are not real, but are realistic. The purpose of the video is to give you a realistic picture of what happens in the aftermath as an accident of yesterday. The individuals involved in this video, from the police officers, the judges, the hospital staff, including the doctors and the nurses, are all real individuals that perform those jobs on a daily basis and in the locations that you'll see on the video. And we want to make sure that you have a real picture of what can happen if you make poor decisions in drinking and driving. However, the most important facet of this video is the role of Mitch Yetter and Colin Coussart. They provide you a realistic image of what could happen to your peers in a situation as similar to yesterday's accident. The benefit is Mitch and Colin are acting, and they're here with us today, and they're fine. Mitch portrays the role of an individual killed in that accident, and his parents, Mr. and Mrs. Yetter, provide us a perspective of how it might feel to lose a child in an accident such as yesterday's. Colin's dad provides us a very realistic portrayal of what it might feel like to be able to lose a son to incarceration because of a poor decision they made. Ladies and gentlemen, please take an opportunity to sympathize with the individuals in this video and really try to connect with what might happen if you made some poor decisions concerning drinking and driving. And ladies and gentlemen, please take the time to pay attention so that you can make wise decisions when getting in a car at any point and not make risky decisions while driving.
'59 cars, 59 Zone 1. Report of a vehicle accident, unknown injury, 1340 Valley Forge Road. Multiple vehicles, possible ejection on the highway. 59 cars respond.
5912 responding.
59-4. 76, Rescue 76, accident with injuries, 1340 Valley Forge Road.
Station 345, attention the officers. Accident with injuries, 1340 Valley Forge Road, Tomesson Township.
County Rescue 76 responding with 6.
59-4, confirm one ejected, put a chopper on standby. I'm going to assume command to location.
59-12 on location. I'll be doing an investigation with other units. Possible DUI accident. Alert county detectives also.
5923 County, what's the status of the chopper?
5923, flight services Pennstar 1, ETA 5 minutes.
Pennstar 1, we're en route to your facility with a male, 18 years of age, victim of a motor vehicle accident. Severe head and neck trauma. His vitals are unstable at this time. Patient is fully immobilized. We'll give you further bedside. Our ETA to you is 5 minutes.
Basically, this is an 18-year-old male who was involved in a motor vehicle accident. When the EMS arrived on scene, he was not breathing. He had no rhythm. They were not able to get a rhythm back with him, although they have tried CPR, and it's been in progress for about 15 to 20 minutes right now.
Why don't we hold compressions and see what sort of rhythm we have? So I don't see any heartbeat at all. Somebody check for another pulse over there. Pam, can you check for another pulse?
Yep.
I don't feel any pulses here without compressions.
No pulse detected here.
And I don't see any pupil response at all either. He has such bad head injury, and with that and a cardiac arrest, he really doesn't have any hope for resuscitation.
Okay.
I think we're going to go ahead and pronounce him now.
Okay, time of death?
I have 11:36.
11:36, time of death.
Ready? Hi. Hi, I'm Dr. Harris. I'm the emergency room doctor. You can have a seat. Are you Mitch's parents?
Yeah.
How's Mitch?
I'm very sorry to tell you, but Mitch has died today. I'm very sorry.
No.
I'm very sorry.
He's got to be okay.
The paramedics did everything they could, and we worked on him, but we couldn't revive him. I'm very sorry.
There's nothing you can do.
I'm sorry. We tried very hard and there was nothing we could do to revive him.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. He was crazy. Oh.
5930. 5930.
All right, step out here. Stand in that box there, face the wall. All right, stay there. Okay, come this way, straight through this door here, make your first right, and you can have a seat right here in this brown chair. Okay, for processing, you're gonna have to remove your hoodie, so you can take that off and hang it on the back of the chair. All right, you can have a seat.
Please stand on the first set of footprints there for me, and stare straight ahead. All right, this hand, 4 fingers, keep them together. Place your right hand back here. Relax your hand, and I'm going to pull it towards you.
Which hand do you write with?
Right.
Okay. I have a form here I have to read to you, so pay attention. It's very important. It is my duty as a police officer to inform you of the following. You are under arrest for driving under the influence of alcohol or a controlled substance in violation of Section 3802 of the Pennsylvania Vehicle Code. I'm requesting that you submit to a chemical test of blood. If you refuse to submit to the chemical test, your operating privilege will be suspended for at least 12 months. Make a right turn here as you get around the corner and straight into this cell here. Let's go ahead and have a seat, and we'll be right back with you. All right, Kyle, we're going to head down to the county correctional facility. What I need you to do now to put these on, I need you to stand up, turn around and face the wall here. Kneel in the chair, both legs. You can hold on to the back of the chair so you don't fall over. All right, turn around and face me. Okay, back out the door here. Take your time walking with those on. Grab a seat. Watch your head getting in there.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. You have been selected to sit in judgment in the criminal case of the Commonwealth versus Colin Coussart. This is a charge of homicide by vehicle while driving under the influence. We will now have the opening address of counsel.
Your Honor, the Commonwealth calls Officer Travis Wood.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Have a seat, please.
May I proceed?
Yes.
Officer Wood, as a result of the radio call which you received, what did you find when you got to the location?
When we arrived on location, we found a two-vehicle car collision, rear-end car collision. The car that was rear-ended had 2 passengers in it, one of which was ejected from the vehicle and was found roadside with very serious injuries. The other occupant of the vehicle, the operator, was wandering around on the roadside. He was walking around, looked a bit disheveled, a little bit disoriented. We found that there were also injuries in the vehicle that rear-ended the car that had injuries. The passengers in that car as well did suffer injury. At that time, I notified our local EMS unit. They responded and treated the 2 people with lesser injuries and transported them to the hospital. The gentleman that was found ejected in the vehicle with the serious injuries, we had a helicopter arrive on scene in the landing zone back behind the high school, and they life-flighted him down to the city for emergency treatment.
Now, do you see in the courtroom today the person you said was on scene as the operator of the car in the front?
I do. That would be Mr. Cosart seated here in front of the courtroom to my left.
Indicating for the record the defendant. Now, what did you do after the injured people were tended to? What did you do with regard to Mr. Cosart?
After all injured parties were treated for and transported to proper facilities, investigation was directed towards Mr. Cosart. Due to the fact that I stated he did seem disheveled, a bit disoriented, I believe that he may have been operating his vehicle while under the influence of some controlled substance or alcohol. And commenced the field interview, asked him a few questions, where he was coming from, where he was going. I noticed that he was slurring his words a bit, a little bit confused about some of the questions that I was asking him. At that time, I advised him he was to be subject to standardized field sobriety testing. Throughout the testing, I noticed that he showed signs of impairments through each test and performed each one to an unsatisfactory degree. At the end of standardized field sobriety testing, I gave him a portable breath test, and the PBT did indicate consumption positive for alcohol.
And at the time, what did you do as a result of that?
He was placed under arrest at that time. The register came back at 0.19% BAC. Also, before the tests were commenced, I patted Mr. Cosart down for officer safety, and in his pocket I noticed and felt what I knew to be packaging commonly associated with controlled substances. I went into his pocket and retrieved that package, and indeed it was recognizable as a controlled substance, what I believe to be at the time Oxycontin, and testing did confirm that indeed the substance retrieved from his pocket was Oxycontin.
All right, when you got him at some point, was a breathalyzer done back at the police headquarters?
We transported him to the hospital for blood testing at that time. When the results were retrieved back from the blood test, they were positive for alcohol.
And what was his blood alcohol?
His blood alcohol level was a 0.19% blood alcohol concentration.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Thank you.
Officer Wood, the car you believe my client was operating was rear-ended, isn't that correct?
That is correct.
And it was a serious accident, wasn't it?
Yes, very serious.
In fact, just about everyone was went to the hospital from the scene?
Yes, they were.
Except, of course, my client.
Correct.
Is that correct? In fact, someone was ejected from the vehicle?
Yes, the passenger in the vehicle that was rear-ended was ejected.
He wasn't wearing a seatbelt, was he?
Unfortunately not.
And when you got to the scene, Mr. Cosart wasn't in the car, isn't that correct?
Correct.
In fact, he was wandering outside.
Yes.
There was no one behind the wheel of the car, was there?
At the time we arrived there, no.
I have nothing further.
Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you have now heard all of the evidence in this case. It is now the duty of the prosecutor and the defense attorney to give their closing arguments. Please listen carefully because these closing arguments will assist you in rendering your verdict. Ms. Cruz, you may deliver the closing address for the defense.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, and thank you very much for giving of your time. The bottom line is, yes, my client was disoriented. He was just in a very horrible traffic accident where people were ejected from the car. When the police arrived, there was no one behind the wheel of the car. I submit that after you've analyzed all the evidence, you'll find that there is not sufficient evidence to convict my client of this crime, and I'd ask you to return a verdict of not guilty. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cruz. All right, Mr. Richmond, you may deliver the closing address for the Commonwealth.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ladies and gentlemen, in a few moments, Judge O'Neill is going to instruct you on the law. And the law in this area is very clear and very simple. If you are operating a motor vehicle and you are under the influence of alcohol and you cause a crash which results in the death of another person, that is homicide by vehicle, DUI related. I'd ask you to consider all of the evidence and return a verdict of guilty of homicide by vehicle, DUI related, and all related charges. Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you have now been instructed on the law of driving under the influence, DUI related, and you have heard all the facts in this case. It is now your duty to retire, deliberate on a verdict, and render a verdict in the case of the Commonwealth versus Colin Coussart. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, have you reached a verdict?
Yes.
Would the foreperson of the verdict please rise? Madam Foreperson, how do you find in the case against the defendant charging homicide by vehicle while DUI related, how does the jury find?
Guilty.
The verdict of the jury has been recorded as guilty. All right, we are here for the sentencing in the case of the Commonwealth versus Colin Coussart. He has been convicted by jury of homicide by vehicle while driving under the influence. Is counsel ready for sentencing?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor. The Commonwealth has victim impact testimony. Commonwealth calls the father of the victim in this case, Glenn Yetter. Mr. Yetter, you are Mitchell's father, is that right?
Yes.
This is your opportunity to tell Judge O'Neill how this crime has impacted you and your family, and anything else you feel he should consider in imposing a sentence.
Thank you. Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning.
First, I'd like to just take a second or two and just tell you a little bit about Mitchell. He was the kind of kid who was friends with everyone. He was kind of the peacekeeper in our family. He was involved with so many activities. I can remember he came home from school one time and he wanted to join the Korean club because he had made some new friends. Very involved with theater, music. I can recall when he was 4 or 5 years old, he was involved in production at our school. The curtains closed and somehow he found himself on the audience side of the curtains, just reveling in the experience. He was involved with theaters over the summer. He was able to perform at Carnegie Hall. He was actually friends and performed in high school theater with Colin. He had just been accepted to Temple Business School for Fox Business, and he had dreams of becoming an entertainment lawyer and representing bands down the road. One of the greatest things I just saw a couple weeks ago is he was named Night of the Week. He actually named me as one of his role models. So we had a great relationship. You know, you think about it every day, it's just something that never goes away. You know, I see other kids of Mitchell's age and I think about Mitchell, what would he be doing now? And all those things that, excuse me, the father looks forward to seeing his son graduating from high school, on to college, establishing a career, getting married. The idea of grandchildren possibly, all that's been taken away. Needless to say, excuse me, my work has suffered a little bit as a classroom teacher. I don't feel that I'm going to be able to give my students everything that they deserve. I just have to imagine that, you know, also the impact that the Coussart family has experienced and what kind of trauma is affected on their family. I'm not saying that I'm at the forgiveness part, but it's hopefully coming. I just hope that this has not become just some kind of senseless tragedy that, you know, if this helps someone and someone learns about the mistakes that have occurred, perhaps we have an understanding about what Mitchell's purpose was here on this earth. So, thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. All right, Ms. Cruz, you may call any witness that you wish to call.
Your Honor, I would call my client's father to the stand at this time. Could you tell us a little bit about your son before this incident, the accident?
Colin is a very outgoing, always involved in a number of activities at school, theater, holds a job on weekends, very good student, hard-working kid.
Since this accident, could you tell us how he has been and how this has affected him?
It's been devastating to Colin. It's been devastating to the whole family. What's happened is just a tragedy, and it's ruined our lives.
And what has Colin done in light of this case, of these charges and this accident?
He's in a depression. He's lost interest in trying to pursue his goals that he had before this. He applied to 4 colleges and was accepted to all of them. He's lost interest in it and has really lost direction.
And is he receiving drug and alcohol treatment as well as treatment for his depression at this time?
Yes.
Nothing further on.
Before this court imposes sentence, your client has the right to allocution. That is, to make a statement to this court on any matter that may be relevant to his sentencing. Does he wish to exercise that right?
Yes, Your Honor, he does.
I know how this event has impacted my family and my life, and I can't begin to imagine how it's affected the Yetter family. I am truly sorry to the Yetter family for the pain my poor judgment has caused them. Thank you.
Mr. Coussart, rise and receive the sentence of the court. You now stand convicted by the jury in the death, the senseless death of Mitchell Yetter, and 4 serious injuries of your fellow students. This is a tragedy of unspeakable dimension. You have destroyed lives and inalterably changed the lives of those who survive forever. You have torn apart the fabric of the North Penn community, all through senseless acts that could have been avoided. These were acts of choices. You chose that night to drink. You chose that night to drive a vehicle. The combination of those two has completely torn apart your life, the life of the Yetter family, and those of the victims who are still recovering from their injuries. This court is without discretion as to the sentences it imposes. The legislature has made the determination that when there is carnage on our highways as a result of the choice of drinking alcohol and driving a vehicle, and a death results therefrom, that sentence must be 3 years in prison, a state correctional institution with no possibility of parole. And additionally, this court does have discretion as to those lives that you have inalterably changed for those who have been injured because of your choice to drink and to drive. Therefore, in the case of the Commonwealth versus Colin Coussart, on the charge of homicide by vehicle while driving under the influence, therefore, sir, you are sentenced to a total term of imprisonment of not less than 5 nor more than 10 years in a state correctional institution. You are hereby remanded. Sheriffs, remove him from the courtroom.